Hello everyone and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As usual, I'm your host Mike. Hello, it's me. Nice little stretch in there. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Ready to play some video games with me? All right, we're gonna play a little bit of our rogue here, go back to that, have some fun, a little mono stuff, and try and hunt down empowered Lagon, see how that goes. I just was looking at the blessings that I had here, and I'm like, you know, this isn't a fantastic blessing to have for this class, so I'm just gonna give it a shot, see if I can replace it with a better one. We've got some cool stuff on the blessing front coming next match that I'm very excited about. Whoa! Yeah, okay. So this is gonna ruin me. That's obvious already. That's okay. We'll die a bunch, that's fine. If this is your first time here, welcome. Glad to have you with us. I like to answer questions from chat, so please put at Last Epoch Game in front of your question, and the wonderful Fitz will be curating those for me, and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. We also stream for charity. Boom, this is our charity. Yep, all of the everything that comes in from stream goes there, because they're pretty cool. About it, really. I have to learn to use our Falcon more. That's the big daddy of damage for us. I maybe should do something easier so I have to focus to actually not die. Alright, let's get these questions started. Hi Mike. Hello. Are there plans to make targeting better on controller? Like being able to target enemies behind you or on top of you without having to walk around to face them? Yeah, this is there we go, this should be better. This is a problem we've been working on. There's a lot of situations where like smart targeting can be really bad, and there's other times where it's like if you don't have it, it's way worse. So we're trying to find that balance of when to use it, when not to use it, and also trying to give players a little more control over it. But it's a complicated thing to say the least. So we're still working on the details there. But yes, it is something that is actively being worked on. Any plans on adding that feeling when like one random mob can just take you out? Any plans on adding a system / mechanic or maybe an item that allows for rerolling stats on uniques / idols? It is very painful and anticlimactic to get a very rare unique, even rare 1/2 LP just to discover that it rolled lowest possible stats / implicits in a given range. We don't have any active plans to do something like that right now. It's not like we never do something like that, but let's see if we can just stop messing things up. Oh, keyboard shortcuts. Learn them, they're good. Here we go. Better. Yeah, we don't have any, like, there's nothing in a pipeline to say like, oh, do this. But you know, I don't think it's a impossible thing. There's a lot of different things that go into making the perfect item, and we're really not trying to set people up for the expectation of getting the perfect item. The more tools we give people to be able to customize items to make them perfect, sometimes it makes it more it increases the expectation of where items are in the quality spectrum. On their way to perfect type thing. And so like adding in something like this does increase the ability to make like you can make a better item possibly by taking those things you found and re-rolling them and all that sort of stuff. But then because this new tool's added in, the expectation of what items you have and the quality of the items you have goes up with it. And I think that there's you know, such a thing as too many ways to improve your items, and you know, the expectations of items being too perfect, such that you know, drops, like things that just drop without any modification on them can feel underwhelming, because you have to, and this is sort of the line we've been writing, because there are so many things you can do to items that quite often already, even in Last Epoch, when an item drops, you kind of have to be able to see what it could be, not what it is, which is tricky for new players, even franchise players too sometimes, and it's definitely a balancing act that we struggle with sometimes on how best to handle it, but you know, it's all stuff that we are working on. The number of I just want to put this aside, so this is a topic I really enjoy talking about as well. The number of like extra glyphs and runes that we've debated, discussed, pitched, rejected, approved, all that sort of stuff, like those conversations are significant, and we've done a lot of you know, like discussions on what types of effects we want to add there and all that sort of stuff. So it is something that we are trying to expand. But the wrong crafting material added to the game at the wrong time could actually make things worse pretty easily, actually. Ah, just needed one tiny little bit of a jump out of there. Can't even get through one empowered. This character is never going to complete a monolith, ever. But an empowered monolith, I should say. Oh, how are we gonna fix this? Are we gonna fix this weapon and actually go for this, or just go play our druid, our beastmaster? Do we have one of the 90s or 85s that sort of could use some love? Increased armor. We do not run a ton of armor. And flat armor. At least they're synergistic, right? Let's go here and try this one out. We'll do it at 90. We're still only like 85 or something. 83. Punching a little bit above our weight class as it is. Okay, next question. Are all the future cycles going to be as long as the first one? I mean, they'll all be slightly different. Our target length for all cycles right now is 3 to 4 months. So, you know, some of them will be shorter, some of them will be longer, but, you know, the goal is 3 to 4 months. There's all sorts of other factors that play into pushing them one way or the other. Like if we're just trying to dodge a release of someone else, or if we're, you know, we've got like an extra feature that we just gotta squeak in, or maybe the patch before it just took a little bit extra time that we thought we'd be able to start working on this one sooner, but we couldn't, which is kind of what's happened here. Because we pushed so hard for 1.0 that we didn't have much pre-work done on 1.1. All right, is the patch 1.1 ready? No. Release made and waiting June? No. It's not ready at all. Tons left to do on it. CTs haven't even seen it yet. Alright, is there any way you all could add the ability to search for T7 affixes in storage or educate me if there is a way? The search in the stashes right now just searches, it's just a string search. So there's no like property searches really. You might be able to search for the word, like the phrase tier 7 or something like that. Something that shows up in the like tier : space 7. You know, try that, or try searching for drop only. Something like that. You might find it. But we are looking to expand the search capabilities. It's a little lower on the list.
too easy.
Lovely. All right, end of time area, the product of trying to change the future, thus creating a paradox feedback loop, shattering time, leaving nothing but the alternate time branches flying through the endless void. Time travel responsibly, people. Yep. I agree. Oh! Don't stand in the fire, kids. Adventure responsibly. I like that. All right. Who is the dragon in the background of the End of Time? Do you have a big dream you want to achieve with Ellie but can't due to technical limitations? What would that be? Oh, lots of questions there. I have no idea who the dragon is. I do know that our lore master has more information on who the dragon is, or what the dragon is, type thing. You know,
Might have to drop
the big dream with Last Epoch is like, it's here. This is it. This is the big dream. We've got it. It's amazing, right? I don't know if there's many like procedural generation is the next big, wouldn't it be nice, I think, features. Like proper procedural generation. Increased minion health, super useful on the Falconer. You know, grab an exalted mace. Some cool affixes on that. What happens to the stash tabs after cycle ends? I play offline cycle character, so I guess for the first cycle the tabs will roll over to legacy once the cycle ends. No. But what happens after cycle 2? Will the new stash tabs that I bought during cycle 2 be added to the legacy ones? Also no. At the end of the second cycle, what about the gold and mats? Yes. So the items you acquire, the drops you find, the gold you get, the idols, the crafting materials, the gear, all that stuff can be transferred over, and you can use that in the new cycle, no problem. The tabs themselves are specific to that cycle and do not transfer over. So when you get it, it's just a bunch of remove only tabs. This is the way it's set up right now. Could change, we'll see. But yeah, it shows up as if you go to play in Legacy. So like if you're in the situation you're playing offline, you played cycle 1, the cycle rolls over, cycle 2 starts. So the new cycle content is cycle 2. And if you boot up a Legacy character, or if you boot up that cycle character, it's fresh from scratch, nothing's there, just like normal, blank slate. Then if you go to your Legacy character and go to your stash, you'll see there's like a little, there's some extra UI we're adding in there to be able to switch between previous cycles and the current Legacy version. And you'll be able to pull stuff out of those tabs to use on Legacy if you want. You'll also be able to transfer your crafting materials and gold and things like that, like all the extra stuff that's in your stash but is not really in your stash. That's hard to quantify that's in your stash. Like for example, your blessings are in your blessings are technically items in your stash, but they're just stored differently. And like these crafting materials are crafting materials in your stash. They're just stored differently. So you know those things. There'll be a button that you can merge those in, and those will transfer over nicely. But no, the tabs themselves don't move. At least that's what's currently there right now. We're still over a month away, aren't we? Yeah. Are you going to nerf builds like Frostclaw Runemaster and Jailcro's Marksman that people enjoy playing to the point where they are unplayable next cycle, or are you going to rather buff all the underwhelming or outright bad builds in the game? I think that the situation is so much more complex than this question allows for an answer to. So I'm not going to answer the question directly. I think that it would be foolish of us to take either or of those stances and do one or the other. It should definitely be both. Yeah, it's taking an absolute view of the situation, being like, we're gonna nerf everything or buff everything and just do one is just not. It's both are gonna end up with severe problems in the very near future. So like we have to look at the overall landscape of like how builds are performing and certain things that there are certain things that are dramatically way too high right now in power levels, and those will come down. Yes, there are things that are way underpowered and just aren't working the way we initially intended them to, and those will come up. You know, the goal is always to keep play styles that people have really like if there's a specific play style that someone's like, oh my god, I love doing this and it's a fun play style and that sort of stuff, we really like to focus on those as being things that we that was really great that we make sure are still fun to play and are still viable and strong and all that sort of stuff. But there are it's not like there's a rule about not nerfing things, because you know then we just end up with trillions and billions and quadrillions and sextillions of damage, and it's just like why are we allowing these numbers to go so insanely high when we can still keep them to be quite powerful but not have them be absurd, you know? All right, when do we get Last Epoch merchandise? In my dreams, yesterday. I don't know though, I'm sorry. Are there plans on continuing Steam Deck compatibility? We have plans on beginning Steam Deck compatibility. The amount that it works on Steam Deck so far has been basically a fluke. We've done a tiny little bit of stuff for Steam Deck at this point, but not much. We've noticed a significant interest in Steam Deck and a significant a number of players playing the game on Steam Deck. So it is something that we are interested in, and we're looking for ways to improve that experience. I don't know if we're quite gonna make it to that full official checkmark just yet, but I think it's on the horizon. I just don't want to say like yes, it's gonna happen yet, because it's not approved yet. They might have, like, Steam might have some. We have to submit it to Steam to be approved, and like Steam might come back and be like, "There's this thing that you have to do to make it fully approved," and we're like, that conflicts with some game thing we have, and we just can't do that. You know, like, you just never know. So until Steam's approved us, maybe. Why, after defeating the timeline boss in the Monolith Fate, do we get ported to the timeline entrance area instead of the Echo of a World post-Echo area with our chest and vendor? Because it would cause horrible problems otherwise, and is required to not have gigantic bugs. This is your irregular but tenuous reminder that the care sheet rework. Debated. Yep, fair enough. I'll take it. Well deserved. It's not done yet, sorry. How long before 1.1 drops will we get the patch notes? Generally, it's just a few days. I'm sure we'll have a better timeline once we get closer, but usually it's just a couple days. we usually do a like a patch. We usually call it patch hype week, and so it's the week leading up to patch, and we usually have like dev blogs and articles on major features that are coming for that patch, and then the last post in that patch is the patch in that hype week is the patch notes themselves. And I do not see a good reason to deviate, as it's been working quite well for us so far. Are we just gonna stack everything on the Falcon and be like, we're a throwing build? What's your beard regimen? Oh my gosh, wait, so little. I got really into my beard probably about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, and then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of lazy, so this is all I have now. It is a very simple comb. This is it. That's it. 2 or 3 times a day. Good to go. I was putting like, you know, like beard oil in my beard, and it was fantastic, but it's a little much. Also, shampoo, but hopefully that's a given. All right. Any plans for new pets and or skill effects in 1.1? There are. I don't know what new MTX is coming in 1.1, but there is some. I would assume some of it is probably a pet at least. As far as skill MTX goes, I do know that that is not ready for 1.1. The whole system for that to function is not set up. So that system needs to be built before we can, use it. All right. Hey, Mike. Hello. How are you? With the addition of the evade mechanic, plus the implementation of the new system replacing the dynamic damage reduction for bosses, have you had a look at and rebalance all bosses? It seems like significant changes coming in all at the same time that could impact those substantially. Yeah, there's like, yes, asterisks. So, like we're definitely taking a look at all the bosses and making sure they're still like they're playing good and they feel fun and all that sort of stuff. We haven't, like dedicated a design meeting to every individual boss and like gone back with a fine-tooth comb and been like, all right, let's examine every ability, let's check every system around this boss, and like let's like quantify how it's been affected. And we didn't go quite that far. But like as you just playtest the game, when you know that there's these changes and you're like, hey, we made these big changes to bosses, let's make sure we're keeping an eye on that and taking notes and talking about problem areas after the fact and things like that. So yeah, like we definitely do look at the changes to the bosses that come in with this. The dynamic boss DR had a way bigger impact on how fights go than the evade system did. All right. Are MTX purchases going to be cross-platform accessible when the game goes to console? I have no idea. We are kind of far away from a question like that, unfortunately. I do not have any information on how that will work. I sincerely hope so. That's one of those things where you're like, if we didn't, it would be because there was like some other company told us no, or like. There was some tech reason where we're like, well, we either don't port or we, it would have to be a pretty big reason to stop us from doing that, but I just don't want to say yes in case there's some reason I just don't know about. 'Cause I know there's a lot of things I don't know about console development. All right, because there's something that happened recently where I was like, that's got to be a mistake. Like that's got to be just whoever's reporting this doesn't know what's happening. There's no way that's true. And it turned out to be true, and I'm like, oh, I just have no idea how consoles work, do I? What was that? I'm completely blanking. I'm sorry. All right, moving on. Have you guys thought about making different variation of the same main theme music for each cycle? Similar to what Elder Scrolls do with the expansions. I don't know. That's a cool idea. That the main theme was a pretty large undertaking. That's a cool idea. I have no idea if our sound team and music team has considered that or not. I would say that's probably unlikely right now, just given that there's a lot of stuff to do, and variations on things we've already done is probably less impactful. At the same time, the main theme is heard by everyone when you start the game, so
That was close.
have you guys considered adding a key specific tab like the crafting materials? Yes, many times. We're still working on exactly how to store keys the best, but we will be getting them out of your inventory stashes. Will we get more character slots with 1.1? I don't think so. I know there's sort of a backlog issue to change how we do character slot limitations in the first place, which would make changing the number way easier. The way that limit is set right now is very unfortunate. We used the system to set it, and then kind of half abandoned the system a little bit, or changed how we were using the system is a better way to put it. And not everything got converted over. It's a bit of a mess with that, but we are, I know that's on the list to fix. Alright. Would it be a good idea to increase skill respec catch-up XP to give players a bit more freedom to test early game? I don't think so. I think it's already incredibly forgiving, and the misconception that it's difficult to test things out early is perpetuated by unfortunate posts online, I think. Hope you're well, Mike. I am, thank you. With D4 going easy mode this week, is there any discussion on EHG about needing the 90 to XP grind? Loving the game and grind. I don't think there's been any design discussions spurred on by what's happening outside of Last Epoch right now. I mean, we're pretty happy with the leveling speed right now. I think there's a really big difference between I think there's a really big difference in Diablo, like Diablo 4 and some other games too that do this, and like PoE and Last Epoch, where the like you're not expected to hit level cap in Last Epoch. It's like level 100 is a significant achievement that you can go for if you want. It's a significant optional achievement. It's not an expectation. But I think that most of the time, like you look at most like modern Blizzard games, and max level is definitely an expectation. Sort of like the old joke of like, well, before you hit max level, it's just a tutorial, which it doesn't really, but you know. I think the tutorial for Last Epoch stops at like level 80, level 70, somewhere in there. If you're gonna put that tutorial. Technically, the tutorial for Last Epoch stops at like level 12. Oh, fine. If you had to play a mastery on controller, which would you pick? Bonus, what happened to Serpent Strike Boy? I figured it was kind of boring because I was doing so bad. But you know, maybe I'll switch. I'll split the stream half and half. I did really enjoy that one. If I had to play a mastery with a controller, what would I pick? Honestly, I think this build I'm playing right now would be awesome with a controller. It's upstairs right now. I can't go get it really quick. I did recently buy a controller that is so good. 8-bit do, 8-bit do. I don't know how to pronounce it, but oh, it's great.
Might have to drop something.
Maybe so I would do something ranged. I'd probably do something ranged. There's some Rune Master builds that are really good too with it because it just blows up the whole screen, so you don't really have to aim. All right, is there any changes for how many slams we get after doing Temporal Sanctum? There's so many low LP uniques I want to slam, but repeating the dungeon every time is a chore. What I don't understand is why you would nerf to the point. This might be two separate questions. It is wonderful. It's definitely a topic. The dungeon double use of dungeon rewards is something we've been talking about. I don't think there's any major changes to that coming in 1.1. I think I saw a suggestion on Reddit, question mark? May have been a forum or something. I don't know. I think I saw a suggestion recently from the community that was like, just put another key in to like do it again. I like that. I thought it doesn't change the like the item economy structure at all. All it does is just like just saves you a little bit of time, really. You don't get the bonuses from killing the boss again, which is fine. So yeah, there's some adjustments and wiggle room in there. I think I don't know what's going to happen specifically with it in 1.1, but I would really like to see some, you know, just some little improvements there. I think would be good. Going for that one. We're going for it. We'll get there. What I don't understand is why you would nerf to the point of gutting things like Frostclaw, Rune Master, etc. In a strictly non-competitive game such as an RPG, debatable. The reason why people play RPGs is power fantasy. How do you plan on fostering that power fantasy if you end up gutting builds like the aforementioned that people enjoy a lot? I don't really have time to get into this. Okay. Let's pretend you've never played Last Epoch before. Okay. And let's pretend you've never played Last Epoch before. And I tell you that this build I'm playing right now is the absolute most powerful build in the game. Absolute most powerful build in the game. No matter what, there's nothing better than it. Next build, next patch, and you don't go check. You just believe me. You don't check anything. You're like, yeah, Mike knows what he's talking about, and you just believe me, and that's it. So, truth of fact, this is the most powerful build in the game right here. Patch 1.1 rolls around, and we change Rune Master Frostclaw to be equally as powerful as this build is right here. Now, of course, you know, sitting there that we've just nerfed it into the ground because this build I'm playing is terrible by comparison. But it is suddenly now, in your world, it has now become the most powerful build in the game. It is the best. And maybe it is. Maybe it is actually the best now. And it was the best before. We've just, this huge nerf. And it's now the best. And it's still the best. I guess what my point is that a lot of the difference in what happens when a nerf or buff happens in a patch, it doesn't really matter where it was before the patch. All that matters is where it is relative to other builds and what they can do, what the power that you're trying to sell in the game is. So my question is, why does it matter what the build was before, but before a patch happens? Why is that more important than where it is relative or post patch relative to everything else? That's like it is. Why is, I assume from the way the question is structured, why is in your world the where the build was before the patch, why is that important compared to where the build is relative to other things after the patch? I don't think I'm quite wording this right, but hopefully I've got the idea across. Hopefully, obviously, we're not actually doing what I just said. It was just an example, just to be clear. But you know, like after the patch, if it's still the most powerful build out there, why does it matter if it does half as much damage as before? You know, with any build. The numbers you see versus the boss will go up. The other option is the other way to look at it, I guess. We don't touch the build at all. We change literally nothing about it. Okay? Completely untouched. And we just 10x every enemy's health, and we 100x all of their damage reduction percentages, and we just like crank their toughness into the stratosphere, and then we buff everything else in the game to be even more powerful than Frostclaw. It's literally untouched, and yet it's now the worst build in the game. I don't think, I guess the point I'm trying to get at is that, are you going to nerf it? Are you going to buff it? I don't think it's the right question to ask. And I don't think it really conveys, I don't think there's a way to answer the question that really shows, I don't know, a healthy progression for builds going forward and where the game's going to end up. It's a very, very complex situation, and I do have a tough time going into details on how we go through the process on stream. So hopefully I haven't completely oversimplified something or just said something completely wrong, but you never know. Alright, hello! In a lot of builds, there's always seems to be some sort of traversal skill. Yes, that is very common for a traversal skill in a build. Is there any talk about adding a method to customize the evade mechanic being introduced to be a little more customizable, teleport or dash or charge, etc., so it opens up an additional skill slot for further character diversity? Yeah, the goal is not to replace traversal skills with evade. So I don't want you to be expecting a way to crank up the mobility on it to the point where it is taking the place of a traversal skill. If you want a traversal skill, play a traversal skill. Having said that, we do have plans to add in, like ways to customize how it plays. And there's all sorts of things that can mean. I don't have any details on what that is yet because we are still designing some of those things. But they can, like, I mean, I can say something ridiculous. Let's say something absolutely ridiculous that we're definitely not doing, just as an example, so I don't accidentally say something we are or aren't doing. So this is definitely not coming. But like, let's just say hypothetically, there was a ring that said, I don't know, it was you cast every ability in the game every time you use evade. Yeah, something completely over the top. Like that's a transformative way to add effects to evade without actually making it into a traversal. Well, it would, because all the abilities are traversal. It casts fireball or meteor. There we go. Better. You know what I mean? Like there's things we're going to add into the game that will depend on and react to evade, to customize them. So you will be able to do things to change your evade through your gear generally, but not always. Can you combine the defensive stats to open defensive diversity? You combine the defensive stats to open defensive diversity. HP plus max HP. Oh, percentage HP. I think it's HP and percentage HP. We have an HP, we have percentage HP, and we have hybrid as well. Endurance threshold, life regen. I don't like the idea of combining them. No, they do very different things, and we put them in different places for different reasons. We're not combining those. Sorry, I shouldn't say flat no, but no. Sorry. All right. Is there going to be any changes to corruption scaling and or certain skill mechanics that and interactions to prevent builds from reaching 4,000 plus corruption? Prevent's kind of a strong word there, but yes. Like there's no plans in the code to be like, if corruption is above this number, stop increasing it. You know, like we don't plan to put that in, but like 4,000 corruption is like every adjective of that's you know every adjective that's crazy, over the top, mega, super humongous, overpowered, way too high are the terms I would use to describe 4,000 corruption. We never ever expected or intended for anyone to get even close to 4,000 corruption. That's so far above what we expected. All right. Hey Mike, Merchant's Guild at 4,000 peak daily players feels like being factionless. Any chance for removing faction swapping downsides? No. There's almost none. You just lose your current favor. That's it. Like just spend the favor first and then switch. Downside gone. I feel like there must be something else you're talking about, because that. Yeah. Any chance for supporters to get an early preview of new patches? I mean, so we do have we have our community tester program that that does get to see new content early. Sort of our like. Gonna say sort of they're like our community testers, and then I realized what I was saying. So we do have a smaller group of people that do see things a little bit early, but no one paid for that. Like no, there was no one that was like, oh, because you gave us money, you get access to that early. It was like an application process that we selected people for. things like helping people on the forums was a good thing for people who were applying for that. You know, like things like that. And we really hoped to. Another thing is we just looked for a diverse group of people as well. So like, there were people that we brought on specifically because we're like, oh, you only have 50 hours? Great.
Might have to drop something.
All right. What have you been working on lately? / where do you find yourself spending your time lately? A lot of just, you know, bug fixing for stuff. Some like, can't talk about that. Can't talk about that. New functionality for new features. Anything you could tell us about the system that's replacing dynamic boss DR? Even if not specific mechanics, maybe the overall goal of the system. Is it the same as dynamic boss DR? Yes. And is the damage resistance that drops off over time after starting the fight still going to be there, or is that considered part of the dynamic boss DR system? That is the entire boss DR system. Like currently the dynamic boss DR system is it starts with DR, and that goes up if you do a bunch of damage to it, and goes down if you don't do a bunch of damage to it. And that is I missed one. I didn't, but yes, thank you. Okay, yes, sweet. Yes, what am I saying? Answer the question first. Dynamic boss DR, yes, the dynamic boss DR is going away. What you've described in the question is the system, so that is going away. It does have the same goals as the dynamic boss DR system. And I can't really describe too much about it. The numbers you see on a training dummy should be the same numbers you see on a boss. Which I think was people's biggest gripe with the system, really. Like, I think that if we had... It's gonna sound so weird, but I think that if we had just, like... done some, like, hand-waving trickery to make the... just to make the numbers show up at the right size, I think that would have had the same effect in the end. For most people. I do think what we've done is a lot better than that, though. All right, bunch of stuff happening, all sorts of cool stuff happening over here. So thank you very much. Lots of people doing cool stuff. Anton the 8th. Actually, Anton 8. Thank you very much. 14 months in a row. Yo, Mike. Yo, right back at you. Thank you very much. That's a big number now. Hyrule 13. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Airward. Gifting out some subs. Congrats to anyone who got one of those. Thank you very much, bud. Yeah, I'm having a good day today. How about you guys? Good day today. Enough? 421 will do it. When it comes to pinnacle bosses and balance, is EHG attempting to make most builds be able to clear them, or are we expecting more specific builds for it? There's a lot of... It's a fine line. You know, I think that certain builds will have an easier time with it. And so you'll be able to do it with worse gear. And so like certain builds will be less powerful and be able to do it, but you'll need to have better gear. So like whatever the like S tier builds after the patch are, we'll probably be able to do it with like just worse gear than the like a B tier build type thing. There's also a pretty significant player skill component to it. So like a person trying it for the first time will need a lot better gear and a lot better build to be able to do it on their first try than someone who's done it 100 times. You know, because there are mechanics to learn, and you know, just you do something enough times, you get better at it. So, yeah, it's a really hard question to answer. I think that given enough gear, given like enough gear and enough experience, pretty well any semi-reasonable build will be able to handle it. But like cycle starters with limited gear and first time ever trying it, you know, it's probably won't be too many builds that fall into that category.
That was close.
It's gonna be tough. And I realize that I basically just described every boss fight ever. Alright, what are the chances of getting throwing-based weapons that have implicits that have the base flat damage added to throwing skills, or a throwing-relevant core stats such as int, strength, dex, etc.? This is something that's been suggested many dozens of times. We have no intention of doing it. If we were to do it, the base damage of pretty well every throwing ability would be reduced by a number similar to whatever the flat implicit that's going on in items is. So like, I mean, sure we could do it, but we'll also nerf the skills into the ground at the same time. So you're probably better off just leaving it where that is. All right. Is there a specific technical reason why there is an animation difference when teleporting out of an echo between online and offline? Yes. In offline, we get a loading screen, perhaps, whereas in online, we have a cool blurred animation and instant port. Yes. The game is made up of scenes, and so like the Frozen Fortress, that's a scene, and it's like this whole thing. And you know, scenes can be when you're playing online, and the server is running things, not your computer, multiple scenes get loaded simultaneously. That actually happens in offline too, but it's the UI is the other scene, but that doesn't matter. Anyways, so the echo of a world, that like between scene is additively loaded to whatever echo gets loaded up. That's why whenever you start an echo,
Too easy.
in a monolith run and like everyone's screen freezes for a minute, what's happening is the previous echo is being removed from memory, and the new echo is being added into memory. It's loading those scenes. But because players have to exist in both simultaneously, and because of a whole bunch of other weird stuff that was happening with it in online, we had to make it into the same scene. So it had to be loaded simultaneously. They had to exist at the same time in the same zone. Which means when you leave the echo and go back to to Echo of a World here, because it's still sitting in memory, it's still just floating out there in the middle of space. It does the exact same thing that the ability teleport does, and it just moves you to that location. You're not actually loading a new scene. But in offline, you only get one scene loaded at a time. And so when you go to Echo of a World, you actually have to load the scene then. All right. That's the same question a bunch of times. Considering stuff like 4,000 corruption is never supposed to be achieved, why is it a thing? Because we made a mistake, and builds got way more powerful than we thought they ever could. I get that having an infinitely scaling difficulty is nice and all, but how different is it really from something like the difficulty scaling of Greater Rifts, which isn't as fluid as corruption, but is still smooth difficulty curve that caps out at a certain point, at which point people can try to clear the content faster if they want to be competitive. second question there. Yeah. I don't have a good answer for why it's a thing, really, compared to putting a cap on it. I guess it's just that possibility of it can always go higher. You know, we're, I think, hoping for people to still be able to push higher if they want, but have that rate of pushing higher slow down as they get higher. So, you know, you're not ending up with thousands and thousands and thousands of corruption, but you're still making progress if you really want to push higher. So there's always that, like, it's a higher number, but the differences get harder and harder. Now, yeah, you bring up the the other half, that is just having a secondary measuring stick for whatever the top tier is. I think the big, it's tricky because it kind of happens anyways with an infinitely scaling system. I think you kind of end up in that, like, oh, if a build can't do whatever the cap is, it's not viable. All right, I got it. You have some health. Jeez. Not anymore. It's actually nice gloves. Hey, hi. Any plans to update character models in the future? Yup. Some feel a little off to me, like ugly necromancer girl or a mage that looks less fantasy and more like a real life person. I don't think the themes of them will probably get too much of an update. We do have, you know, long-term plans for character customization to be in the game, so that will let you do some things to change them if they're not hitting the fantasy you're interested in. Where the pinnacle boss is designed to balance melee versus range builds. We don't. Yes, asterisk. So we don't exactly sit there and say, like, okay, let's test every melee build, let's test every ranged build and average the clear speeds, and oh, this one's faster, so I guess we've got to, you know, like so we don't go that far with it. However, it is a bit of a it is something that we check when we're designing the abilities, when we're designing the when we are playtesting it. You know, it is a factor that we look at and say, like, okay, is this fair for melee? Is this fair for range? That sort of thing. But it's less of a, like, strict, is it equal? If that makes any sense. We definitely take melee into account when designing the abilities themselves, and there are times where ranged characters will be forced into melee. And like we already do that on some fights anyways. Boom. There we go. I love playing this build online with my friends, because just the sheer potion volume that drops is a little nutty. Okay, we're gonna do this boss, and then I'm gonna switch to my terrible Beastmaster that I love so much. Actually, I'm really enjoying that character. Hi, Mike. Hello. Is there anything planned for hardcore and pinnacle? A way to train or something like D4 Scroll of Escape, I think it's supposed to say. I mean, no, you've already got your town portal. You can portal out whenever you want. I mean, that's kind of the thing about hardcore, is it's like, it's a difficulty spike. Like, if you don't know the fight already, it's gonna be brutal for you in hardcore. So not really, no. You can practice it in softcore. You can portal out if it's getting too hairy.
Do not stand in my way. Behold.
You know, I was just talking about examples of times where we've done forced range players to get into melee. Here's an example right here of that.
Do not stand in my way. Rise, my fallen champions. Aid me.
So good at this game. Don't even worry about it. So good. Oh, let's go play our Beastmaster. Thanks, Kane. McFluffin coming in with a raiding party. Good timing. How you doing, friendo? Hey, look, this guy looks like me. We're buddies. Hi. How you doing? You good, eh? Yeah, not too bad. Nice shirt. Okay. All right. Are we still getting a pinnacle boss system in 1.1, or did that get changed to a single pinnacle boss in favor of other content being added? Question mark. It's nothing's changed with that. I'm not sure where you got the impression that the system was defunct or something, but no, it's still there. The whole like the whole patch, all the new stuff. It's like it's all working towards that pinnacle boss, like. You know, like the harbingers build up to it. I can't really talk about too much, but like it's all like that. That's all the system together. All the stuff. There's other little stuff too, but yes, it is. It's the pinnacle boss system, and there's still, as always, just one pinnacle boss because you know you have a cheer pyramid. There's only one person at the top, right? Much better. This thing is beefy. Got her. What do you think of the statement that ranged-based builds, especially those who focus on being protected by ward, are outclassing melee and HP builds leaps and bounds? It feels like you can throw a dart in a room of players and 90% of the time hit a long-range playstyle that uses Extinguish / Last Steps to Living, Exsanguinous, I think this was meant, and gloves with experimental affix of HP converted to ward. I think it's an overpowered build archetype that people have gravitated towards because it's so powerful. I don't think there's anything like special going on there. I get the sense that you want a little more out of me, but I don't know what you're looking for. You know, why do people play Hammerdens in D2? They're crazy OP. Right, are there any plans? Why do people use Enigma in D2? It's crazy OP. Are there any plans to add account-wide rewards, less achievements, such as armor sets, to entice players to play this season and achieve some goals, challenges, battle pass, etc.? Not at the moment. I think that having you know, things to do in a cycle is potentially really good. We're, you know, like specific challenges to overcome with rewards and that sort of stuff. It's, I think, personally I prefer it being more in the organic side of things. It can be really good at both ways though, because having it be explicit and like a tracker that says like, okay, you have 3 more things to accomplish, and then you get this thing. Like that's really nice because you know when it's coming, you know when it's going to happen. You have this like, you can see the progression happening. You know when it finishes, all that sort of stuff. The big downside, I would say, is that it feels a little mechanical. The right word? I'm not sure. You know, like if you add in 10 new unique items into a cycle and say, here's some cool new unique items you can go get, and you play the game and you kill the boss and you get the items, and you know that's kind of the same thing. It's just it's diegetic, it's in universe, it's organic, that sort of thing. So I think we do kind of do that, but more organic. But yeah, I think there's room for both. All right, considering the dangers of linking offensive stats to defenses, what were the arguments for leech instead of life on hit? I don't remember this debate, man. This is a painful one for me. I don't remember. Leech and reflect are 2 mechanics that they're so easy to make completely broken or completely useless, and like getting them to sit at a point that's like balanced, it feels like a losing battle to me sometimes. We do both. We do both things already. Like, so we do life on hit and we do leech. As far as like why do we pick one over the other? Usually, I think we pick life on hit if we think leech is going to be too OP in a situation. I think it's kind of what happens. Yeah, not always. Leech also can be done through non-hit things as well. It doesn't have to be a hit to trigger leech. Depending on how you set it up. Hi there. Hello. How you doing? Oh, you know what I'm gonna do first? 'Cause I'm weird and like to put things in insane spots. Don't die on me now. CPR on the scorpion. We got it. Straight arms. Anyways, what are we doing here? We're pulling. Here's a cool thing. What's that? What's that cool thing there? That looks like a pretty cool thing. It does look like a pretty cool thing. Oh my goodness, sometimes Streamlabs. Sometimes. Okay, we got it. Boom, shuffle it over. Play with it up there for a while. What is it? I don't know. I when I first saw this, and this is not what it is for the record, but when I first saw this, I was like, did Darth Maul turn to the void? Is that a double-ended void saber? Is that what's going on here? That was my first thought. I was like, oh my god, please. No, obviously not it. Okay. Hey there. 2 things. First of all, thanks so much for opting into GeForce Now. Cool. You're welcome. I totally knew we did that. It runs like it has the boss on it. Secondly, I hope you guys keep being an open to an eventual console release. We are open to an eventual console release, yeah. Consoles are... consoles are great. And, you know, a lot of people don't have a PC or just prefer to play... You know, like, there's... The ease and self-contained nature of a console does such wonders for just, like, you know, slapping it in your living room and getting it up to play. It's great. And so we really want to get like expand the platforms that Last Epoch is on, it's a significant undertaking to get onto those other platforms, especially when you have no existing relationship with those companies. And you know, there's a lot of people trying to put games onto consoles, so they've got to be selective. So there's like stuff we've got to do. There's all sorts of stuff there, but yeah, it's on the list. It's on our radar. We're working on it. All right. Will the majority of the class timing in 1.1 Wait, will the majority I'm just going to read this out. will the majority of the class timing in 1.1 be nergs to overperforming masteries, nerfs to underperforming masteries, a mix of both, or making Shaman and Forge Guard the new gods of the game? So I think this is trying to ask is, are we going to nerf OP things, buff underpowered things, or do some combination there? Some combination there.
I'll take that as a yes. Get to the railing and give a signal when you're ready.
Like there are things that are significantly underperforming in the game that just like they're just not fun to play. They don't feel good. They don't flow well. No, we're gonna make changes to those. And like sometimes I think this is something else to be mentioned. Sometimes buffs don't come in the form necessarily of just numbers. Sometimes buffs come in the form of you know, like feel, like reduced cast times, or you know, like an extra charge at base, if it's got like a longer cooldown or something, maybe. You know, like there's lots of things we can do that buff skills that isn't just like numbers go up. I think those are sometimes overlooked as being surprisingly impactful. Oh, drinking is hard. That's all my beard. Good thing it's just water. All right. I wasn't looking for anything special, just curious if a more build variety and gear used variety is desired. I guess if I had to pick a point. Yeah, we're definitely looking for gear and build variety increases. It's cool when there's more options. You get to pick which one speaks to you. You know what I'd love to see? So I've been thinking about items in ARPGs, and you know, primarily Last Epoch. But I've been thinking about the idea originally. I actually was talking to a friend about D2 when this came up, and you know, we see people who have build ideas where it's like, okay, you can like you're like submit a build, like build contest, sorry. Who like submit a build where you know, you have, what am I trying to say? If you have submit build ideas that force using specific items, so like, you know, everyone's got to make a build with prism wraps, which is great. And then I was thinking about how like Magic does formats and things like that, or people do you know, like deck restrictions for builds on with magic decks, things like that. It's usually about saying like, here's like, you can pick from this set of things. You can like, here's you can only have cards that have a maximum casting cost of 3, or a maximum rarity of uncommon, or you know, things like that. So there's like properties of items that limit it. And I'd love to see us do like a game mode where like no item can have like your character's effective level for equipping items is like 30 for the whole game or something, or like you know, no uniques, or no rare, or like only uniques, like no rares, things like that. Just like weird like category restrictions, I think could make some really cool challenges or game modes, or you know, I think there's room for fun stuff in there to shake things up. I don't know. Mike's ramble for the week over. The same attack animation. That's funny. All right. Will the new dodge rolls evade, please? Will the new evade also work with druid forms? Yes. Will we see a bear form evade? Yes, we will see bear form evade. Is the purple thing to scale? Oh, that thing. No. This thing right here that I can't see on my screen. Ah, run away! Get away from me! Yeah. 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 5% fizz res. We'll get there. I know you guys don't want animation canceling to be a thing in order to get full value out of skill ability passives. But do you have any intention to make Flame Walker a little bit better? It currently is a traversal node since you can't get more than 1 dice roll per second. Oh, I don't know what that node does off the top of my head at all. If you ask that in Ask the Devs and link the node itself, I will take a look at it later. Let me in! Okay, maybe next time. Do you guys have any plans / ideas for multiplayer only content? Or is protecting the single player experience being able to do all contents a strong pillar? I don't think it's like forever no. Like I don't think it's one of those things where, like there's no way we'll ever budge on this. But you know, right now I don't think we have any intention of adding in content that is required a party. It's possible that you might see something where it's like content, like, so there's kind of some workarounds for that where you can kind of like skirt the rule. Like if you're gonna make that as well, you can kind of skirt the rules a little bit. Where you can, like, you know, we've taken the let's say hypothetically you add PvP to the game. That's multiplayer specific content. There's no way to do PvP single player. You just can't. And we kind of already did a single player PvP mode. Because when we added in the arena champions, they're kind of like fake players to PvP against, you know? Because they use player abilities and all that sort of stuff. So if you did have a boss, like a world boss that required X number of players to beat it, you could kind of spoof the system by like having the game generate allies for you to fight the boss with in single player, something like that. You know, like you could kind of maybe do something like that. But right now we don't have any plans for content of that nature. But you know, nothing's pretty well nothing's set in stone. All right. Will there be Steam achievements in the future? Oh yeah. MG feels like being factionless at the moment. Hard disagree. High tier items are not being listed on the market and low tier ones don't sell. I can't swap to COF because I would lose all 500 hours of gear progression. Okay, I'll read the rest of this. They're not being equipable anymore. So I wanted to ask if there's any chance of this being removed, or is the character just done for? Removed? What being removed? We're not removing item factions. I'm gonna go with no because I'm not really sure what you're asking for, but yeah, we're cleaning up some of the like old stuff that's been sitting in the Merchants Guild on the 20th, I think. I'm not really sure what you're asking. I'm sorry. Try again and a little more detail. What being removed? All right. Are you working on a seasonal cycle journey for players in case you decide to integrate a campaign skip? Totally not stealing from a game with recent season release. We're not intending to integrate a campaign skip. So no, I guess. I think I'm sorry, I'm struggling with some of these. I feel like I'm just like missing info. Oh, that poison is strong. They're poison res. Actually not terrible. Is EHG dead set on the evade concept, or is there room to change philosophy? There's always room to change. I would be the CTs would have to come back and basically tell us it feels terrible. Pretty strongly worded. This is a terrible feeling. It makes the game significantly worse. Like there would have to be some strong and clear united feedback from basically all of the CTs for us to consider not releasing it. At this point, having said that, the feedback we've been getting so far is overall extremely positive. There's there's people that really don't like that type of system and are hesitant about it for sure. But after we I think we're more interested, and this is going to sound ridiculous, and I'll explain what I mean after this at this point. Just with how far we are with it and how confident we are in the system, I think we're only really interested in changing it if the feedback we get is from people trying it. So, I don't think we would change it based on feedback from the forums, unless it was an overwhelming majority. But so far, the majority of feedback we're getting, even from people who haven't tried it, is positive. So, if you're hoping to change your minds before the patch comes out, it's I don't want to say it's impossible, but it is an uphill battle. Hi Mike, hope all is well at EHG Studios. It is! Looking forward to 1.1. What 3 masteries does EHG think need the most work, and what are in the 3 best position? Oh, that is... that's a tough question. The 3 that I think need the most work. Rune Master, Marksman, and Forge Guard. The 3 that I think are in the best position... I think Druid's in a really good spot. I really like Druid where Druid's at right now. I really like where Lich is at right now. Lich needs some work still. I do really like where Necromancer's at. I like where Acolyte's at in general, actually. Can I just say Warlock, Necromancer, and Lich? But like even those, like there's issues that need to be dealt with across the board. There's nothing's perfect. Alright, any plans to add a group finder functionality to automatically find group and teleport players to a selected activity? We do have some plans to better facilitate players finding people to play together. Because right now there's basically nothing. I don't think there's much of that coming in 1.1 really, but I think it is the sort of thing that we're working towards. The campaign! On Cycle Journey. The campaign currently gives players a progression direction. In games where campaign skips exist, the Cycle Journey mimics the goal progression system. Wondering if you thought about this for future cycles. I mean, yes. I've never understood it. I'll say that. I've never really understood the point of it. Like if you've got two activities that take roughly the same amount of time, and one of them has like, and they both have like roughly the same amount of time and roughly the same outcome, and like I guess what's the point of having two? It's like just having variety, I guess. Yeah. You said I thought something. You said you think Rune Master needs work. Did you mean Sork? Nope, I meant Rune Master. I think it is needs one of the heaviest work. It's an extreme outlier. I think the important thing to know in the question is that maybe I read the question wrong, but I didn't think the question said what needs buffs. Because Rune Master doesn't need buffs, but it needs work. Alright, thank you for your answer about evade. Personally, I think it desperately needs to share cooldown with traversals like PoE, or PoE like Zoom will follow endgame thoughts. I think it's not as powerful as you think it is. that's the go-to. Like the PoE like Zoom, I think comes from those, like, I think if we like removed the cooldown from evade, doubled its speed, doubled its distance, and gave it an amazing amount of damage, like, yeah, then it's in danger of that. But no, that's a completely different ability to what we're making, right? So like, yeah, it's kind of a different ability, right? Like, yeah. What should we specialize next? Do we Warcry? Do we slap something else on our bar? Do we slip Scorpion in there? Let's just go with Scorpion. Why not, right? Do we just go straight poison? I do like the size. We do size and baby scorpions. That's not baby scorpions. That's baby scorpions. We don't want armor shred. We do like poison. Let's do baby scorpions. You're like cute little babies running around. There it is. Yeah, little baby scorpions. They're cute it is. Okay. Alright. Any chance for removing the fact that items are equipable only while being in the faction they have been obtained? No. That's a very important piece to the puzzle. If you are switching from Merchant's Guild to COF, though, I don't know which way you're switching, but if you are switching from Merchant's Guild to COF, you know, all the stuff you find is equipable as COF. And even if you're switching COF to Merchant's Guild, like, all the stuff you find that isn't affected by your bonuses is also equipable. So like, you can still, especially because you're using like such like high-powered gear, you can get a really dramatic head start on like, you can build a set of gear out pretty easily to be able to still, you know, get going quickly again. Like, you can get that jump start going quite fast. All right, Leafto, one of those things. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate you. All right, what is the reasoning behind having each character with their own monolith progression instead of account-wide unlocking? I feel like many people don't make new characters because of this. I mean, it basically boils down to, you know, it's the character's progression. It's part of your, because it is a like an ability item that you're equipping as a blessing. Like, it's part of your character's progression. These are like, if you jumped right into, if it's all shared and you like get all of your like corruption up to like, say like, like all of them are sitting at 300 corruption, and you hop onto a brand new character and they're suddenly like just sitting there going, well, I can't do anything. Awesome. And then you have to turn down your corruption in order to get it to actually like be able to do anything. And then if you hop back onto your main again, you're like, well, now I've got to work my corruption back up again, just to play my main again. This way, each character is already set doing things that they can do. Love this boss fight. It's a little mini boss fight. You don't like me, though. No, come back. Raptor, come back. Ooh. Okay, anything in here we can do? Could be worse. It's over here. Ooh. Could we have more modifiers for Monolith? And are they going to be more customizable in some way? More modifiers. More. We actually kind of reduced them recently because they were having a little too much of an impact on relative power levels. This is another one of those things that like we get pretty frequent feedback along the same lines of oh, I missed this. Airweird resubbed themselves for a full year. Pew, pew. It's been a good day today. Thank you very much, everybody. You know what we can do? Whoa, what is that? It's like a gigantic thing that looks like a who's it? Egg, give egg. I want egg. All right, calm down. It's coming. Big omelet incoming. Speaking of giant omelets, this is an ostrich egg. Ostrich emu? Might be an emu egg. But it's like, it's big, it's thick, it's crazy. Emu egg, sorry. It was good. Gigantic omelet. Oh my god, I actually did a scramble. But it was like a dozen eggs in one. It's a little nutty. And I'm definitely playing with that giant thing in front of me, aren't I? There we go. I gotta do it once every stream, don't I? Put that on your bingo card there, huh? But Mike makes a fool of himself on every square. Guaranteed success. All right. Is blessing switching confirmed for cycle 2? Please say yes. Now we've got to talk about this, unfortunately. It's going to be devastating to hear this. But yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. It's, as of yesterday finished, I think. It's not merged in yet. It's ready. All right, I'm just curious. Just finished Mistborn Trilogy by Brennan Sanderson. Smudge on my monitor right there to make that N look like an H. All right. And the main villain is called Ruin. Is that just a coincidence? Yes. The pinnacle boss is not named Ruin. Just for the record. I don't think we've said the pinnacle boss's name yet. Yeah, I don't think we've said it yet. It's cool. I like it. Do you have plans to soften the huge jump from normal monos to empowered monos? Particularly important as an outlier build gets tuned. As an example, trying to get plus 50 corruption in normals is mind-numbingly brutal. Grinding bosses in normals is too. Since you can't ever skip the quest echoes, thoughts on making this transition smoother? I don't know if we've put much into that recently. I think there's something to be said for having some spikes in difficulty happen. I can still remember the feeling when I was a kid of you know, taking a character into hell for the first time in D2 and being like there's no way there's no way I'm ready for it yet. There's no way I'm ready for it yet. Like you're grinding nightmare just trying to get enough stuff just to make it into hell because it's such a huge power spike. And you like you get there and it's like it's awesome, right? So I think there's something to be said for having some of those difficulty spikes happen. I kind of like the idea of the quests only need to be done once, so like on normal having them be. I feel like we tried this and there's something that didn't work with it. But I do like the idea of the quest echoes allowing you to skip them once you've done them once. Some part of me is like we tried that and what we did was a compromise because that wouldn't work. But I can't remember. That was a long time ago, so stuff's changed. But yeah, it's maybe making it easier to farm stuff or smoother to farm stuff to get your way into empowered might be better, but I do really like having that difficulty spike happen. It is supposed to be a significant achievement. It's a milestone. It's like it's a big deal. It's the like you're into the hardest difficulty of the game content. Like it's supposed to be a hey, this character can do empowered. Sweet. Wow. Nice. Ah, tried to res them. We're going baby scorpion. We're investing. Is the res circle still? Yeah, it's happening. Okay. Shaman question. A lot of shaman abilities have totem conversions. Has EHG considered giving totem abilities conversions to non-totems? Sorry, I read that backwards. We haven't. I don't think it's actually come up before. But we do have some cool stuff there. That does cool stuff. It's gonna be cool. Always seem to do cool stuff. Try my best, but it's never good enough. All right. For the 4 people that watch that. On the topic of baby scorpions, any chance we can have the shrine that summons the scorpions with rare items drops improved to also drop exalted and uniques, preferably with an increased challenge to go along with it? I think it's a cool idea. Having like it's basically strong boxes, isn't it? At that point. But I do really like strong boxes, so you know that's cool. So I guess maybe having like a thing you come across in the world that you can like opt into a harder and harder challenge each time like you come across it, and like powers up the thing you're gonna get from it. Be cool. So I'll just whip that up and we'll slap it in next patch, no problem.
In the slums.
That came off way more snarky than I intended. I'm sorry. It's like, I actually like it. I actually think it's a good idea.
Content to slither through
COF currency is favor, which is an amazing proxy for time investment. Could MG's currency also be favor, as it tracks better with time investment than gold, and just introduce a taxation system as a sink? I mean, it does require, like, it uses that same currency already. The big problem, I think, is like if favor becomes like the transactional part of the the currency in the transaction, then it is just gold. You know, like it's the same thing really, because if the other person gets the gets the favor from you, then it's just gold. Like, what's the difference, right? Then we'd have to add in favor sinks. I don't think that changes anything, really. Let's let you guys fight each other. Just fight amongst yourselves for a minute. Any thoughts on about additional gold tax on the bazaar? Lots of people on forums complain about gold inflation on MG. Yeah, so I think that I agree on the fact that gold is a little, like, the price of things are a little insane, and there's people that have way too much gold, yada yada yada. A lot of people made a lot of legitimate gold during the gold duping incident. So there are a lot of people that do have way more gold than they should, that they got legitimately, but came from an illegitimate place. So like it's not something that we're not taking that gold away from them because they did earn it. It was just that the market was so messed up when it happened that it's had a lasting impact on the market going forward. I'm confident that with the changes we are making to Merchants Guild, and not having a gold duping incident happening at the same time, it'll be a lot better this cycle. But we'll see. I mean, there'll be new challenges, and we'll meet those as well. We have been taking steps to slowly drain a bunch of gold out of the market. Maybe we should have been a little more aggressive with that. It's possible. I don't know, but you know, we have been working to do that. Not sure if not sure if this has been asked already, but that's okay if it has. But are there early cycle mainly supposed to just add eternal content, or they're going to be cycle content that goes away after it's over? Nothing in the early, like in the roadmap that we put out, but yeah, the roadmap, pretty well everything that's in that roadmap is intended to become an evergreen content. Whether or not it starts as legacy content, I don't know why I use the term evergreen, that's a magic term. Whether or not that starts as legacy content or not, we're still kind of working out exactly how we want to handle that, but we are, all those things, all those major things you see in the roadmap, we do intend to be legacy content. It's all designed as This is going to stick around. This is long-term stuff. We are planning to have this be part of Last Epoch's DNA for a long time. It's being designed and developed as such as well. Like I almost said the boss's name. Oh my gosh. I expect the Pinnacle boss to be a measuring stick for character builds for quite a while. I expect us to release, this is long-term stuff, but I expect us to release new bosses that are stronger at some point, or different at least. But you know, it is kind of the nature of how Pinnacle bosses evolve. Is you get new ones that are stronger, new ones that are stronger, that sort of stuff. But we still want, almost said it again, the current Pinnacle boss to continue to be a way to say like, oh, like, can this character build beat this boss? Can it beat that boss? You know, like, I think those are really good things to have. Static difficulty, high difficulty content that you can measure a character against. It's great to have. Will we have male plus female models for all characters? An idea if it's too much work to fit all the items, skins, and animations and stuff. How about just making it possible to select any character base with any mastery? Doesn't fix the problem because there's mastery specific equipment. Perhaps can weasel in some story or end of time variations of yourself once you get there. We do intend to include character customization in the game. It is not there primarily for the reason you stated, and unfortunately the option you put there doesn't work. Sorry. Totally don't have a mom with too many chickens. But got any good suggestions for easy egg recipes while working from home? I mean, I don't think eggs need to be too involved, really. I'm a big fan of just, my favorite thing to do with eggs is rice, eggs, a little bit of cheese melted on there, some salsa, hot sauce if you like that. Love it. My favorite thing to do with eggs. Like the first thing I learned how to cook when I was a kid. I was allergic to a bajillion things, so it was fake cheese. Fake cheese has come a long way in the last 20 years. My goodness. It used to just like burn instead of melting. Now it actually melts, which is really nice. Same with wheat-free bread. Wheat-free bread used to just, you put it in a toaster and it wouldn't toast. It would go from raw to burnt, and like it would be like raw for 10 minutes and then it would burn in half a second. Much better now. Will the Pinnacle boss drop some exclusive items so there is a reason why to farm the boss? I'm sorry, I don't have any details on Pinnacle boss drops at the moment. Would love to be able to tell you all about it. I don't know yet, though. I got that song stuck in my head now, the Taskmaster. Is it any, not the theme song, the doing cool stuff. Great. All right. Is there plans for sharing obtain? Is there plans for sharing obtain prophecies among characters of the same faction? Because I feel forced to only get prophecies on a single character. We don't have plans for that at the moment. This is kind of the same thing I was talking about earlier with monolith progression sharing. It's the same reason, really. It is a lot easier to switch between masteries. It will be much easier to switch between masteries now, though. So you'll just naturally get a few anyways. we'll start there, and we'll see how it is after that. All right. How do you feel about random content like the vaults from D3 or Stygian tunnels from PoE? Does Ishi think random content that opens portals to other places during an echo could come to the game? I think it's fantastic, and I think we've already said we're doing it on our roadmap. Don't, please. Thank you for not dying. I appreciate you. Are you planning to give a unique skin to every unique in the game at some point, or will certain ones stay as they are? This is talking about 3D models on characters for unique items. So like right now, for example, Prism Wraps doesn't look exactly like Prism Wraps when you equip it properly. It's one of those things where if we had an infinite amount of time and resources or a magic wand, yes, absolutely, all of the equipment would match 1-to-1 perfectly with the 2D art, and it would be phenomenal and glorious. Yes. We don't, though. And it takes way more time and effort to put a 3D model into the game than it does to slap unique into the game. So we and mechanically adding the uniques is awesome. So sometimes we put a unique in knowing full well that we don't have a 3D model for it. And while unfortunate, we think it's preferable to just have more cool stuff to do than to have every item perfectly match. So we've kind of looked at the options and said, hey, we'd rather have some gaps than just halt unique production. We will Liam, I can just grab from chat if you want. Or sorry. We will keep adding in we will keep adding in new models for 3 models for uniques in the game. Like that's something we're still going to keep doing, because you know it is awesome when it does look just so, you know. But everything we do is like prioritization. It's just like what's the most bang for your buck we can get out of all of our time. Is a priest class have been considered? Yes, we've considered priest class. I don't have any information on eventually the extra mastery or base classes that will get added. No details there yet, but we do plan to add more eventually. It's going to be quite a while. There are none coming. We haven't started work on anything yet. Do you or any of the other devs draw inspiration from content from outside of the ARPG space? Oh yeah, definitely. For example, the PoE devs have name dropped Elden Ring a few times. For example, yeah, we definitely take inspiration from outside of ARPGs, intentional and accidental for sure. Like if you look at, we didn't go into it with this intention. But if you look at like the general structure of how our dungeons are designed, it's the same structure of how Zelda dungeons designed, with many gigantic differences. But like you go into the dungeon, you get your dungeon ability, the item you find in the dungeon in Zelda. You have to use that ability to solve puzzles throughout the dungeon to get to the boss. You have to use the Zelda item to solve puzzles in the dungeon to get to the boss, and then once you get to the boss, that item or that ability is the boss's weak point. It's the thing you need to use it to beat that boss. I mean, and then you get a unique reward from that dungeon. It's like the most vague way to describe our dungeons, Zelda dungeons, but like that same general overarching concept and style, I think, is something that we kind of I think because it's so similar, we were probably drawn to it because so many of us have played that. Like it's one of those things we realized after the fact, and we're like, that's cool. But lots of times I think inspiration for things comes from places you don't even realize it's happening. And like, so the person who pitched Rune Master had never actually played Dota 2, I don't think. But the Rune Master is essentially identical to like the underlying idea of like you use abilities and you generate runes of that element type, and then you activate invocation to the invoker to use a big ability. Like that type of general style it's represented in many different games, and like lots of us have played different games that use it. So like, you know, there's lots of different things that you draw from by mistake sometimes. And it's, yeah. So yeah, it comes from outside of RPGs all the time. Oh, there's a little bug. There's a tiny little visual bug. You see, all of these are behind the number, and this one, the glow when it's like, hey, look at me, is like shining in front of the number. It's funny. I take it, yeah, it goes behind. It's funny. Some override on that prefab. We are getting real close to the end of the stream here, so if you do have any questions, squeak them in now. Will we see any new... I guess we're talking about, like, yeah. Will we see any new masteries in any of the cycles shown in the roadmap? I don't. I'll tell you right now, 1.1 and 1.2 will not have new masteries. It's a lot to develop a new mastery. Like, it usually takes us months and months to do it. And it's a pretty big deal. That's what we do. I got some decent ones there. I think the egg is a Forge Guard relic. Blink twice if correct. Thank you. Instructions unclear. Any plans for Pentecost Day weekend? Did not pronounce that properly, probably, sorry. I don't know what that is. Google what that is real quick. It's the 50th day after Easter Sunday? What? I've never heard this before. I don't think we've got anything planned for it. Looks like it's happening in 2 days. Oh, that's May Long weekend. Okay, we celebrate Victoria Day instead because we're a British colony. I don't think we have anything planned for it. I'm sorry. But I learned about a new holiday today. Victoria is one of those crazy things. It's like Victoria Day. Queen Victoria has like a bajillion things named after her. It's insane. It's like the volume of cities around the world named Victoria is boggling. There's a city named there's a city in Ontario, I think, named Victoria Road, and that's the name of the city, like the town. It's like, if you can even call that, it's tiny, but like, yeah, Victoria Road is the name of the whole town. I thought it was funny.
Hidden so close. A word of advice. Don't ask her about the diamond matrons. You'll regret it.
Please don't let the egg be a relic for Forge Guard. There's a streamer who would go bananas. I haven't said it's for anything yet. Just for the record, it's it could be anything. It could even be a boat. You know how much we want one of those. All right, we are hitting time here. We're gonna come back to this guy next time. Because he's awful, but he's fun. To be fair, Queens Elizabeth and Victoria are like half the English history. Yeah, it's true. All right. I had fun. I hope you did too. Oh, we're sneaking in that gift to Action ARPG, Aaron. Aaron Action RPG. I said the name horribly wrong, but we got there. Nailed it. Well done. All right. Well, that'll just about do it for me today. We're all done. Thanks for coming out. If I did not answer your question, I apologize. It was not intentional. Please head on over to the Discord where I can, where we have an Acid Devs channel. And I keep a close eye on. I will answer it there. Or you can come back next week. I'll be here same time, same place next week. We've got some cool stuff planned for the stream's getting closer to patch. We might let you guys vote on what you want to see a little bit. That's a possibility. We're looking at that. Maybe be cool. I hope to see y'all next time. That's about it. Let's go say hi to someone. Do I recognize anyone? Oh, they can go talk about their possibly failed bingo. We'll be back. Have a good day, everybody. See you later.